Hey, welcome everybody to Hang Out in the Crib. We just finished up Steel Curtain. I'm sure points are going to be an issue with everybody, um, as they were with me. And I don't know when they're ever going to figure this out. But let's go. 1 second. I need to mute my own tubes.
Oh, atta boy, frickin' rank amateur.
Yeah, I realized I had two windows open with YouTube on, and only one was on mute. But I guess I'll introduce everybody from left to right. It's the Holsch.
Howdy.
Father George.
Evening, everybody.
Senior Daniel.
Hello, everyone.
And this is Hefe. So, yep, I see Mike in the right-hand corner. He didn't have any problems with points, but I'm not sure you're helping anybody, Mike, getting over 900,000 or 900 million. As far as the analytics, as far as what kicks I ought to be learning from the players, but we'll let that pass. So how was everybody's raid? I guess we should I guess the first question I ask is Holsch and Daniel, you did have the gut spill Skyfire, correct?
Yeah.
George and I did not. Right? George?
Correct.
Yes. So I think that was a huge dividing line in the and how successful you might have been as far as obtaining points in this raid. So I don't know. Should we just start with talking about the switch from the 103 to the 106 after we saw it? Because on last Wednesday's show, we hadn't actually seen that target. So I guess George would probably have the most, besides myself, would have the most to say about it, because anybody that owned the Gutspill Phoenix probably felt pretty okay about this raid.
Yeah, they had a walk in the park, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know a friend of mine who had he missed the raid in order to get the Phoenix, so he was already behind. He did the next raid with Apollos, and then he just decided, okay, screw the Phoenixes, I'm just going to build the Skyfires. And he barely spent, I think he spent the coin from one complaint ticket about lag, and has had over 400 million with not having the Phoenix and not really being able to participate well in previous raids, but was able to just tear this raid up.
Yeah, I have a problem with that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a matter of what we were told and whatnot. And I mean, I've told you my, my opinion of they should name them they should have named the Phoenix, the Adderall Hall, and the Skyfire, the Beer Hall, because of probably what would have been most advantageous in order to drive these two. Because I watched people driving the Skyfires, and it looked like a hell of a lot more fun than driving the Phoenixes, and a lot faster. Not even talking about the, basically the inability to do the 106 because of those two squads of drones that would come out at you at the beginning. And then, and even afterwards, you spent how much time just letting those drones chase you, getting, all the way across the edge of the map, and then having to go back to where you were. I didn't find the Phoenixes to be quite enjoyable in this raid, especially relative to the Skyfire.
Agreed. I mean, I wouldn't have minded if they had tuned it for parity, because last raid, the Skyfire crew got boned. I mean, but the thing is last month there were options for them that didn't really cost damage. You brought in subs or whatever. It took them, it cost time. That wasn't the same thing in the 106 with regard to the Phoenix fleet. You weren't losing time, you were losing damage. Lots of damage.
Yeah.
and difficulty and time.
Yeah, I don't know why they're continuing with 2 hulls, and I guess they see it's part of their economic model. It makes sense. It appears that they've dropped the 3rd hull because we didn't hear a lot of stuff going on with the Generalist at this point. In order to adapt it for the skirmish raid, so at least at this point they've dropped it down to 2. So,
well, last month didn't we start the FM right after the raid with Generalist stuff? Was that last month or the month before? One of them we did.
Oh yeah. I guess I guess you did bring that up. That it could drop in the FM, but they didn't even have any in the prize list. They didn't even have any of the Generalist hulls available, as if I'm correct. When I went to the Generalist tabs, there was nothing there, so those ships weren't even available.
No. Yeah, well, I mean, the Zealous is in the FM, right? The COM is not really, I don't think that's applicable. And then if they're going to have another flagship, it's going to be just like all the other flagships, the first raid, right? I mean, that's what they've been doing.
Yeah, that's my assumption.
That's how that's what I presumed when I didn't see anything in there. I mean, the Zealous is still. I mean, you got to give them credit, man. The Zealous in what is it, tier 2? That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
that really is a great idea. I'm so glad they did that.
But you didn't actually really. I asked pretty much after every raid who used did anybody actually use the Generalist hulls in this raid?
I don't think so.
I didn't think.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is usually there's some sort of build somewhere for people to follow, and the people that actually use that type of hull, I don't think there was really anything that they could follow this time. I didn't see anybody actually test it or build one.
Yeah, neither did I. But there's tons of people out there that would have. I don't know. I mean, at least there's a good. There ended up being a good declination between the Generalist hull and the other 2 hulls. But weren't we sold that wasn't it communicated to us that the Phoenix was for the S sets, and then the Skyfire was for the A sets?
You didn't put that in the slides, did you? that post from Doom at the start of the raid cycle?
No, yeah, I think I saw that at one. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't put that in there.
Yeah, that would have been a great segue. But no, the first month they actually specified that the Skyfire was geared towards tier 6, and the Phoenix was for the S sets.
Yeah,
it was the quote unquote go-to hull for the S set. So I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I think that they probably wanted to try and make it right by the Skyfire owners for last month, but man, that wasn't the way to do it, because it was a hull raid, or a store raid, I should say. I got to get you saying that. It was a store raid.
Tech raid.
Yeah, tech raid.
Yeah.
And that's not the raid to mess with people, because all those people that had spent the time and energy and the Phoenix fleet was far more expensive in terms of time investment or investment overall than the Skyfire one, because there was a ton of tokens. We had that TLC 2-3 times, so if you invested in that Phoenix fleet, you were doing it like the slow way or with coin. Whereas with the Phoenix, you had tokens and you could mitigate the cost and all that other stuff, and they still walked the 106s.
Yeah, my fear moving forward is they're going to put the 106 in a time limit and a TLC.
Me too. I mean,
that's going to be ugly.
I was thinking about the 103 too. Wouldn't be that cool, because if you got Skyfires, you're going to be boned. But the 89, I think, was that was a well-balanced target for both fleets.
That's the Blitz one?
Yeah.
I never hit that one. How is it?
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was you couldn't. I mean, you could if you timed it really, really well. You couldn't get on the side of the of Rudolph without taking a lot of time out. But it also wasn't as punitive as the 103. So it was. I think it was a well balanced target for both of those fleets. The 103 and the 106 just are not. I don't think they're well balanced between the two fleets. One is clearly better than the other for each target.
Yeah, and it doesn't help players seeing what happened in this raid, trying to make a decision moving forward on what to do with the Fangtooth and whatever the Tideseeker, Prototype, Hunter, whatever next thing that we're going to see as a surface ship that's a sub-hunter that we expect to see in week 3 in a TLC. Like, how do you move forward from there? Because I mean, I think the lesson we learned is, at least at this point, you need to build both.
Man, after this raid, I'm building both for the next raid series. I mean, ouch.
Yeah, and I'm going to be very, very disappointed. Like I said before, if they put that 106 or the 103 into a TLC that's going to lock some other, yeah, that would be so ridiculous. If the TLC that they're going to run to get whatever the next, the Blitz haul, whatever haul we want to call it, if they put that 106 in there in order to get some level of that, the 10 days of build tokens or whatever is going to happen with that, I think that would be a big mistake. So, alrighty. I guess we can get on with the slides. Let's see. Since we were talking about the Fangtooth, the thing I noticed about it when I was out leveling up, we talked about this before, but it has a very low cargo capacity. It's about it's like less than a third of what we had with the Phoenixes. So that could be an interesting dynamic as we get into raids. You might become more resource neutral in the raids as opposed to, just overflowing with resources as we, normally do during the raids. But let's go on. All right, we have 2 builds from 2 people that were in the preview. I'm assuming we're allowed to talk about it since Ren already made a video on builds related to his experience in the preview. The one on the left is Larry's Battle Pirate Professor, and it's almost identical to the one that Renato built in his YouTube video. The only change is he's added a fire twister here, and I'm assuming that's because of weight. And he's gone with Magnus 2, Ion Thruster, Guidance Scrambler 3, their torpedo tubes, advanced torpedo tubes, which we'll talk about later, Blade of Armor 3, and Sealed Fire Charge. And then on the right is George's, who was also in the preview, who went a very different direction. You want to take over from here, George?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give a shout out to Pain Train too, because both of us actually had gotten the target down to instant repair damage in the base after doing some tests. We weren't able to load it up with as many weapons because we didn't have the charged armor. So 2 of these panels were conventional armor in the test, but I was using and I think Pain Train's is a little bit different than mine as well, but I was using the sonar to try and catch out, the subs early because of the extra range of the Fangtooth. But I found that I could actually maneuver well enough with the hydraulic resistors and 1 or 2. I think I had 2 V torpedoes on this. So I'm not sure if 1 or 2 is going to be necessary. But I went with stealth. I mean, the thing was, I was noticing that these things have not just thermal, but there's something in there that has some enormous amount of sonar. So you know, while you can still do it without it, I found it much easier to drive this way.
Okay.
And I'm a lazy ass, so you know.
Okay, so they once they spot you, they'll start to chase you, right? And they are a little bit faster than you until they get into the into your ring of horror.
Actually, you know, I don't remember if they were a little fast or not. I just remember I could kite them with this setup. So I think I might have been like either on the ragged edge or just a little bit faster than them. The catch is each one of the target ships had different strengths. So there's certain ones that you wanted to take out first to make, you know, your life much easier later on. It was you know, the Mad Genius Scientist robot designed it, which means that it was puzzle-ish and that there were solutions and you had to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know that I mean, at the very, very end, I think both of us got it. I just don't know if we had a solid solution or if we were just getting really good at driving them. I don't know. But yeah, I went a little bit different than these builds that you guys are seeing. I'm actually going to end up, I actually have a article that I was supposed to finish today, but I haven't quite gotten around to it, but you guys might see that tonight.
Okay. Is the TV on in your room, George?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
The kids are watching TV. I keep on hitting my own personal mute button so you guys don't have to hear the TV the whole time.
Okay. All right. Yeah, George's build is much closer to what I was thinking about building without only seeing the you know, the little video of the preview server, because I'm assuming you have to have the sonar in order to see the subs. And yeah, it's I wish we had more information as far as what the final target's going to look like. Because the other issue that I'm seeing is a lot of people are contemplating, the people that don't have enough points for everything are contemplating whether to get the fire twisters or, you know, put the fire twisters on the Fangtooth. And without being in the preview, one of my big fears was that is if it's the fire twister and well, we'll talk about the mayhem in a little bit, but the fire twister is a dumbfire weapon. So I was curious if, you know, if you had to get the exact right angle on these guys in order to hit them with the fire twister. So I don't know, George, did you have any I'm assuming that you probably didn't have any fire twister builds.
I actually got into the thing a little bit late because I wasn't home. Okay. And the thing is too, like I don't even know what the target is going to be in the end, because we really were in there to test the mechanics of the Fangtooth. So I don't know if we've even seen, like, we might have only seen a portion of the target for all I know, you know what I mean? Like we were just in there for a very specific reason.
Okay. And was it, I'm assuming it looked sort of similar to the video that we saw?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That was well, it wasn't a video, it was stills, right? Did they was it the raid video?
Yeah, the raid video, they did a little preview of it. And yeah, that's where I was trying to figure out the speed of the targets that were coming after you because of the, you know, the potential for dumbfire weapons, you know, the fire twister specifically, because the mayhem is going to be useless in this raid as far as I know.
Why?
Because
they have to be surfaced. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think though. I mean, a lot of them were surfacing often, and the gluttonies were surfaced constantly. So maybe they actually took that into account, because a lot of people have tide seekers with mayhems. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know I do, because that was because I felt a little bit irked if a lot of them are going to be submerged, because I have the tide seekers with all mayhems, and you know, if these things are underwater, it's not going to do me a lot of good, because that was the escalation weapon for the last time we had skirmish.
Right.
it doesn't make a lot of sense to basically, you know,
Yeah, and I do. Yeah, I do want to mention too the reason why one of the reasons why I went with Cat Drive. Part of it is because I'm paranoid. Because the last time it came in really handy when we had, the original Score Droid and Sonar and Kixeye and History kind of are still, because I've played for a long time, and Hefe, that over time that Sonar that they like to use gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's just something I want people to keep in mind as they go forward.
Yeah, does it? But the big thing is that they see it's more of an issue of triggering more ships than you want to. Because from what GDA was saying on the shows, that basically they're going to, they're always going to see you, but you can outrange them, except for the mortars or rockets or whatever that's going to be coming at you. The dumbfire weapons that they would fire at that you could skate underneath. So that.
I mean, they.
So I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out if the thermal is going to see you at a certain range. Is it just a matter of waking too many up, as far as your build decision, or because they don't have any besides that dumbfire weapon that you can skate underneath? It doesn't appear that they have anything that's.
Well, so this is all going to be speculation because we don't know what the target is, right?
Yeah,
but what we have encountered so far was, and this is why I was kind of alluding to is there, robot. I love Robot to death, right? Like we butt heads and we have fun going back and forth, but he builds things really complex sometimes, and it's fun, right? Like this target, I have to say that the sub was fun to drive. The target was really fun, unless you were dying really bad. But what I was alluding to earlier about picking what you want to kill first is because I don't think it's just one thing. Like I think one of the subs has thermal, one of them has sonar, one of them has nothing because the damn thing turned away from me after I'd killed everything else. So I think it's one of those overlapping combination type of things. And we're going to have to figure it out when we finally see the target. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it also makes me think did it have we don't know. Did it have a retreat button?
Oh, shit. I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah. Because I'm also wondering, doing something similar to, if you have both, hulls, this one and the next one, the Fangtooth and the next one, if you could pick and choose what you were going to eliminate based on what the strength of the hull was. But because we wanted to do that in previous ones, switch between Tideseekers and
right
and Hellrace, but we didn't have a retreat button to do that, and so you had to sit there and wait another 8 minutes after you.
Yeah, that was horrible.
You accomplished what you wanted. So, and we're still waiting for the return of the Hunter Killer Mortar. So that'll be fun since Robot invented that one along with the explosive boom and what was the third? The cavitator fields that were created by mortars. So,
Lord, the Hunter Killer Mortar and stuff. Is that the raid that you're talking about?
Yeah, well, they had the Hunter Killer Mortar. Yeah, that was a messed up raid because they had the Hunter Killer Mortar, the thing that would just float up in the air until.
Oh, I remember that real well.
Yeah, and then there was also stuff that was dropping cavitation fields that were shot by a mortar that would pop down randomly on the.
Yep.
Yeah.
The pancakes.
Yeah, and then whenever you killed something, you were taking a huge amount of unavoidable explosive damage.
That was while it was one of my most. I didn't really like the raid itself. The background stuff was probably the most fun I've had in testing and stuff. Was for that raid. That was great.
Okay. Well, anybody have anything else on the Fangtooth or any other ideas associated with it?
One of the things, and I actually wrote about this, which is why I want to point it out too, is the The oh damn, what's the special thingy that it has? The dread, right? The dread reminds me very much of the point defense system for the Phoenix. I don't know that people should try really hard to be using it the entire time in a target. I think it's kind of like a backup thing where, oh, you screwed up, try and get out of their range now, because the sub has such an increased range for torpedoes, and that dread is shorter than that range. I don't think it's meant to be used as a primary type thing. So just keep that in mind also when we finally see the targets and stuff, and you guys start driving these.
Yeah, because it has a. Yeah, I guess it's like you're saying, it's a defense mechanism because the dread is a range of 97, and these have a range of right around just a hair over 100, with the concussive range boost of plus 14. So yeah, that makes sense, and what it does also makes sense. It's like because they're assuming it's concussive armor bypass. I assume that means it's whatever is going to be firing at us has concussive armor bypass. So we're going to be reducing it by that, and we're also going to be slowing them down so we could potentially get away.
Yeah,
and then lowering their reload. So it does seem very defensive because there's nothing that appears to increase your offense. It's all about decreasing theirs.
yeah, and it also has that duplicate aura cap of 5. So I'm presuming that's all multiplicative, but
I'm assuming it's additive. It would go from at 5, you go from -10 to -50 at 5, and -5 to -25, and then the flat reload modifier. I don't even know what that means really. I'm not completely.
I think it adds 1 second reload to anything that's in the field.
Yeah, and so it eventually would add 5.
Right.
Yeah, which would be quite impressive at that point. As long
Depends
as
depends on the weapon that's firing at you and how strong it is. I mean, that's the one thing that I'm kind of worried about, because that much of a modifier, in order to make it balanced, that thing must be strong as hell, and I don't want to get shot by it, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. So Cuddle mentions that -5 by 5 is just -25. So it's but it really depends. Really depends on how close your combat speed is to theirs.
Yep.
How much that matters, because it's gonna as soon as you get out of, because we have to assume that their range, the enemy's range of their weapons is probably 97 or 96 or 97, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it goes away at that point. So once you can outrun them, I don't know. We'll see. Well, let's go on to the. We got the builds out of the way. So yeah, I'm not sure if we've given any definitive answers as far as how to build these things, but at least some ideas. I'm still not certain because I was thinking hydraulic resistors, and then a lot of people, like George did, and then a lot of people went Mag 2. So yeah, there's a lot of questions without actually seeing the target. And the thing I don't like, I'm hoping that what we see on whenever the update is going to be is a big build time reduction in the Mag 2 and some of these other things to make things a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah, I think the build time reduction in for Mag 2 is something that they really need to look at. I mean, it's probably overdue. I mean, that thing takes forever to build.
Yeah, along with the torpedo tubes that are over 2 days. But
yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah,
I have a big issue with that.
Yeah. Delirium torpedo, we talked about it last week. But when we did talk about it last week, there was a lot of confusion. This does hit submerged targets.
It does, yes.
And it is an accuracy-based weapon, as it doesn't have splash.
Which is why it has a damage underwater, yes. That's the mechanic. The mechanic is if If a torpedo has splash and is a dumbfire weapon, it has to have a submerged damage number added to it so it will hit underwater. If it doesn't, if it's an accuracy based one, then whatever the damage is, that's what the submerged damage is, unless it's otherwise stated.
Yeah, but they ought to, yeah, which is tricky. Because not everybody's going to get that right away. Advanced
Right.
torpedo tubes. There was a little bit of controversy associated with this. Not really controversy, but whoops, I skipped ahead.
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
Yeah, there was something that needed to be corrected and clarified.
Yeah. Well, what I'm reading into this is there's been a graphical glitch in the game for well over a year, potentially longer.
Yep.
But again, the advanced torpedo tubes are better than advanced concussive. This was a post by GD Rakin 2 days ago. I guess there was a lot of people asking questions because of the mechanism associated with combining a damage type, i.e. concussive, with a weapon type, i.e. torpedoes, together, and how those, what the result of that was when you add those two things together. And if you look in your shipyard, you will see that, let's go to the next slide. Man, this thing keeps on pushing the button. I guess I'm getting lag. But what's going on here? This is an example with the advanced concussive. This is what I think is going on. I have not got any confirmation, but just by reading that and knowing what's been going on historically, the weapon type is the torpedo damage done by the Fangtooth is 150%. And then the damage type, which is concussive, that's added by advanced concussive. The current display is multiplying that. So it's adding 50% of 150 to create 225. So it's adding 75% to the total. But what I'm reading in there is, as far as the performance goes in the game, so that's why they're calling it a graphical issue. It's actually only adding that. So if you add concussive to torpedo, you only get 200%. I just wanted to get that out of the way to explain why there was a little bit of people trying to figure out what was going on, because if you went to your shipyard, you would see a much higher number for advanced concussive payload than you would for advanced torpedo tubes as far as your damage was concerned. And what he's saying here is that the damage done in the actual game is much higher with advanced torpedo tubes because they have 70% torpedo damage. So what that would be doing would be adding, that would take it to 220. So the way it's working as far as the performance is 150 plus 70. So you would get 220 with the advanced torpedo tubes, as opposed to what shows, it shows 220, but the advanced concussive system shows 225. Is that the way you read that post as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that they're, because the display right now, as you explained, was using one to build off of the other after it had already been calculated. And I think what they want to do is streamline it like everything else and have it all calculate off the base. That's how I read it. That's how I read it.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure I understand that, but okay. Let's go on to Well, no, I had another point associated with this. This is also going to impact. The only big part of the game that I can think of is the additional thrower damage, because there's display issues where I think this display issue would also cover certain hulls that already have where you can combine thrower damage and radioactive damage. They would calculate like what's going on here where I say current display, but potentially the performance is what we see in the second row down. So that's the other place where I could see it making a change. I can't think of too many other places where you have a weapon type damage. Are you following? You know, can you think of another place?
No,
radioactive and thrower, and then torpedo and concussive, for concussive and torpedo. Those are the only two places that I can think of where it exists in the game. I can't really think of any other.
I mean, maybe some outlier stuff where we have like secondary damages and stuff, or penetrative versus missile damage. I don't know. I'd have to look. I can't think any off the top of my head.
Okay. Alrighty. You still awake, Daniel? I think we put Daniel to sleep. Alrighty. C1CT. I don't know that there's much to see here. I mean, the big advantage is going to be this is a very tight hull on weight. So the 125 tons relative to going to the C5 route, you're saving so much weight. And this is the Delirium torpedo is very weight intensive relative to what we've seen before. But to get this concussive defense of plus 18 and the ship deflection, structure deflection, the big thing that we're going to get is the weight until we actually see the target and understand if this concussive damage reduction of, which is a pretty big number. I haven't done the math. I forgot to do the math to figure out if we have the same number of hits we can absorb as before. But yeah, I would guess we can move on. Skirmish cycle. I think we've already covered that. Sloth. I didn't get it. Is anybody else here besides me?
I'm here.
Okay. All right.
We're still going.
Okay. I know Daniel's nodded off at some point a while ago, so I was just checking.
Making sure.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to talk about on the bus?
The damn thing hurts from everything that I've seen so far. Like, the splash is... I mean, you guys thought the Muddle Glut and the Inquisitor with muddles was bad? Holy crap. This thing, I've seen it splash out stuff, like, significantly splash out 5 tiles away.
Mm-hmm. And Cuttleflesh will have it in the water soon. Oops.
He can send some coin my way so I can get mine out, too. I'm still trying to build Fangtooth, whatever the hell.
Let me go back to... let me get my stuff back together. But, yeah, I'm a little bit worried associated with that haul is the fact that I don't know how long the upgrade time is going to be for OP10 because it has the plus 25 explosive range. And if OP10 has like a 40-day upgrade time, I'm a little bit worried that people are going to get these in the water and you have no way to protect your base. That's, you know, and you're going to get constantly shelled because you don't have enough tiles at this point. I mean, I guess people are doing it, but, you know, because it comes out to 112.5 range. I just wish things were done in a slightly different order because if it does have a 30 or 40-day upgrade time, people are going to get upset if there's no way they can continue their upgrade. I think previously with the OP9, didn't they make it even if your OP was flattened, you would continue to upgrade?
I don't remember.
I think they add. I don't think that was in there originally, but I think they added that in there because people were having a hard time
Continuing.
continuing the research or the upgrade because they kept on getting hit and they would keep on stopping at that point in time.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't remember. I was actually lucky enough to get in before they had fixed that base parts thing, and I took advantage of that.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Hey, Rum, you here?
Happy after raid day.
Hey.
Kev.
What's up, George? How you doing, buddy?
You know, I got raid burnout.
Yeah, we all do. That's why it's happy after raid. Who's got the booze?
I always had the booze. But
Nice.
That's
so
always
what am I missing? The buses come to town?
Yeah, well, we talked about the bus. There might be some other stuff. We talked about the raid earlier. I'm not sure exactly how to do it now that you've popped in at this point, because I'm not sure that we have that much more. Let me see. Oh, let's talk about this.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Rampage put in the forum today because there was some confusion after the show last night where GDA and Rampage were on
Crow's Nest.
Crow's Nest. Yep.
Okay, there we go. There was some confusion by I guess some of the communication from Kixeye. As far as we were only going to get a 20,000% increase in power capacity, but that was actually the power, and so people were thinking that's how much power you got for your base, but that's the power capacity of the outpost itself, how much stuff you can stack on there once you put the new Gatling gun and whatnot. But in reality, it goes up, as opposed to just an infinitesimal amount, it goes up by 2.5 times. So it goes from 342K to 843K. So they're adding basically a little over 500K, which is a big difference. So I just thought everybody should be aware of that if they felt that they weren't going to get enough power in the next upgrade.
Well, I'm glad we got an increase, but I don't know that it had to go up 500 points.
Yeah, that seems pretty big, and I guess that's one of the things that I'm curious about is if you start looking at some of these new turrets that we're getting. Whoops. Yeah, well, we can skip that. We already talked about that. Leftover slides. 1 second. Close your eyes. There we go. To actually build any of these new turrets, or the new turrets, they really can't affect. I'm not sure you actually gain anything building them now until you've upgraded your platforms to put them on, because you have to strip off specials and then put them back on. I don't know that these are that advantageous until that point in time.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's all about planning everything out. I mean, if you can get going on building some of these and get them setting up on the tops, you've already got that part done.
True, but if there's other things that you need to be doing, because you're going to have to strip off specials that you probably already have on there and then put them back on in order to make it fit.
That just depends. I mean, you probably don't have anything out there for the countermeasure turret that's already equipped, so strip it off, put it on, you're good.
Well, I was going to replace what I have on my Dracoax. Right. And that one's good to go. If I had more power, all I need to do is swap out the turret.
That's in your particular situation. There's probably not a lot of Dracoaxes out there still. But of course, when they saw the Brennus coming, and that kind of answers your question from earlier, that's going to help fight off some of the Brennus.
Yeah. So I don't know. The rest of these slides are just the turrets. We can go. We went through them last week. I could exit the slides and we can talk more about the raid and things of that nature. Because we didn't hear from you on this one. Rum. So you want to talk about? Anybody want to talk about the turrets again, or we can do that. But these are stuff. This is stuff that we talked about on last Wednesday, because we haven't had an update yet. Choice of anybody out there.
Anybody's choice.
George. Daniel's asleep.
I don't know. I'm completely burnt out. You know.
Okay.
You're not sleeping. You just what? We've been talking about you for the last 20 minutes, dude.
Oh, don't worry. I've been listening the whole entire time.
Okay. Well, that's good.
So when he asked you, like when he prompted you and you didn't answer, you were just ignoring him? Damn, dude, that's cold.
Oh no. I probably stepped out to get like a bottle of water or something.
Yeah. You fell asleep. We know.
Okay. Well, why don't we talk about it more generally? I know I've seen some people be disappointed in the performance of some of these turrets, and I think that harkens back to what I just said earlier, is the fact that they've had to strip off specials in order to get them on there. And they've used up a whole bunch of build tokens and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know what to say about them until we can actually see them in action, or know what specials we can put on them based on the amount of power that they'll be allowed. I mean, we can make some assumptions that we had the power of the entire base increased by 2.5 times. I don't think we'll see the same thing with the turrets. I think we'll probably see a smaller increase, but I think it will be, won't be an order of magnitude different, 2 times, which would make them very powerful. And we don't even know if, are they going to add something else to the next level of defense platforms? We don't know. So, but with saying all that, is anybody prioritizing any of these turrets over another?
Countermeasure at the moment.
Yeah, that's the only one. Go ahead, George.
I was gonna say, I still got like a week left on my what the hell wall thingamabob upgrade.
Your portal?
Yeah, it's still going to number 2.
Well, you could still equip while you're.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
I guess, but that would mean I'd have to go out and get base parts, and yeah, fuck that.
Okay. Well, you don't have to get base parts. It's a separate build queue, but yeah, it would build faster that way. But as far as people that don't have enough points to get 5 of each or something of that nature, George, is there anyone that you like sort of prioritize over another based on not really having a full story of what's going on here? Because both me and Rum are sort of going with the countermeasure turrets, but I think the Wendigo looks interesting as well.
Well, that's the one that I think I'm probably gonna build first.
Okay.
Because that debuff, the deflection debuff, is pretty neat and makes things interesting for some of the fleets that are out hitting right now. Additionally, too, I still have countermeasure ships, or 1 or 2 countermeasure ships still in my dock somewhere, unless I scrapped them. Okay. I can always throw a couple of them in for now if Brennus's sloth becomes an issue.
Yeah, and so, but the other thing I'm curious, I'm assuming that the field resistances are still going to work on these. A lot of ships right now have built-in field resistances, and the impact that's going to have on these deflection bypasses.
I don't know.
You got to assume. I have to assume without any that would be the case. I don't know, but I have to assume that, it's going to get reduced by whatever percentage. If it's a 70% reduction, this Wendigo won't be as nearly as effective against those types of ships.
I don't know.
And it is available in your retro lab, because you can see this one. This number may not match up with the briefing because I already have this category up to 9 in the retro lab. So
lucky you.
Yeah, where's the mortar in the retro lab?
Is it? Let me double check. I would assume it's with the older.
Yeah. You might want to pop in game and take a look.
Tier. I don't know, because I have my. Why is it not showing even on my cat mortar? Because it says tier 6 and it doesn't.
That's what I was going to tell you. That's what I was going to tell you. It's the epic. The epic is in its own category, and they moved the cataclysm in there as well. So now all our cats are down to R1 again.
Oh, I'm gonna bitch about that. That's not fair.
I saw that today. I got someone that sent me a message. I was like, no, they wouldn't do that. Yeah, they did. And I sent a message out, and I haven't heard back from them yet. But I mean, that was unexpected.
That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable that they basically nerf our cat morts, our existing ones, and force us to spend another 15 days and God knows how much uranium. That's not what's still left in that cat. In that. And the guys will be in the booth, just pretending to have a normal conversation.
Did we lose him?
I'm sorry. My friggin' headset just died for a second. What was that? I completely lost. I lost everything for a minute though. Did we lose?
We lost Hefe.
We lost Hefe too? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're right here.
Oh, no. That means he's going to come back in and the show's going to go nuts. Hold on. I'm trying to check something on the cat mortar. The cat mortar was in the retro lab, right?
I honestly don't know if the cat mortar was or not. Have to depend upon our wonderful audience for that.
All right, I see. It looks like the cat mortar wasn't in the retro lab before, but had been added in when the Emancipator was put into.
Right.
So that was I don't know if they realize that. I'm actually popping off a message right now again.
Well, this goes back to the post that you were talking about earlier, or that you made earlier. These unannounced changes keep us uninformed of things that they've done that we may have ranked before that now have 1 on there. They can't do that. I don't care what the TOS says.
Yeah, don't get me started on the TOS, man. There are caveats, and that's written very specifically, and I don't know who has explained to whom there, but that does not clearly give them God power to change anything at any time for any reason. That's not the way that's written. So, FYI.
Yeah, but that comes back to intent as well, doesn't it? Because if I spend,
that's not how contractual law works. No, this isn't criminal law. This is civil. There's a difference.
Oh my goodness, it's like a whole different show. I lost net for about 90 seconds.
That was not 90 seconds, dude. You must have been talking and talking and talking, not realizing, but you went out like right after I said something about the cat mortar.
Okay. Yeah, because I was pissed that they Jesus Christ.
Is he
All right.
calling? Dude,
Yes.
you might be having problems if he's calling.
Yeah. No, I was. Let me mute a second. What category was that in? The cat mark.
It was added in. It was added in. I think the same time that that the Emancipator was. That's what Jonathan said. Jonathan says too. So I think that's when it was in. So it's only been in for like 2-3 weeks. But at the same point, it was already added, and now they're messing it. I mean, I don't know. I don't. It doesn't sit quite well.
They added it during the last bounty raid. During the bounty.
But it was in there with Emancipator? No,
Yeah,
the original cat mortar. What was it called?
No, it wasn't with the Emancipator. When the Emancipator was added into the lab, and when the Hyena was added to the lab, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that update, the cat mortar was added to the other mortar thing that was already in the lab.
No, it formed a new category.
No, it did not.
Okay. Well, that's news. I need to look into that. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention.
Oh, maybe it was. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a
Maybe
new
it was in some
category.
category.
Yeah. Yeah, I was complaining about the whole Hyena thing where it used to be in fire support missile platforms, and now it's a whole separate it's a whole separate thing when it returns. Because if you remember, there was a glitch that it was there when it wasn't even out yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it does exactly the same upgrade too. So I don't understand why they didn't just put it into the same upgrade again.
Man. Is anybody else just not wanting to look at the game right now? I'm just like, oh, come on.
That's what I was saying. Where's the booze so I don't have to?
What's going on?
I haven't logged in since the raid ended. I'm just like, oh. It's just too much. It's too, every once in a while I could understand like wanting like putting an upper limit of like 300 million, but man, every damn raid to have that huge mountain and like afterwards you're like, oh, it's over. Great. And like I don't know if I'm going to be on that thing. I have to remember to log in to actually, claim prizes now.
How many points did you wind up with?
350-ish, 360-ish, I think. And the last second, IRA Pricks actually helped me out to. He got the drones out of the 106 so I could finish in time because there was like 30 minutes left and I was trying to get 2 more sets.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh hell! It just no. I was I enjoyed the way that they designed most of it, except for the very start of the 106. I think that's what throws everything off. Those drones should have been moving right off the bat or something. I mean, just something. That 106 just ruined it for me entirely.
I think there's entirely too many points, too many new things. It's a haul rate. It's supposed to be catch-up time, not fall behind time.
I think that went out the window a while ago, man. Like, I don't know if they understand the concept of catching up is the problem, because without the option of catching up, people are just gonna stop leaving. I mean, they're already frustrated month to month if they're not caught up, and then this happens, and it's like, what the hell? What do you expect? Honestly, what do they expect of the players is what I want to know. Like,
Access to their checking account.
Yeah, that's getting old.
You bet it is. I have 7 million points left to spend. Do I take one more of the new turrets, or do I just dig deeper?
I don't know, but I know raid burnout. We're having a late release again, and it's going to be a massive release, and we're just like everyone's concentrating on OP10. I'm wondering, are there going to be TLCs coming out? What bugs have they fixed? I mean, holy crap!
Well, and everything will be on shorter terms because of the length of the raid.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know.
You started playing around with base design yet?
Not really, no. I am at the I don't care level right now. I'm just I have raid burnout, and the thing is I was trying to run around between doing stuff that I was trying to do. Excuse me, out on the property, and then this, and I don't have the time to invest to get 400 whatever the hell million that we need, or 500 whatever the hell million that we need to get every month. It's just not. It's not feasible. And then
You know what?
on top of it, we're going to have bounty every month. And I like, how much time do you guys want me to actually be spending on this fucking game? Because there's all the events and then the chores, which take time and are not, you can't auto them. You want us to drive them. I mean, how much time investment do you actually want in a game on top of the fact that you're also getting a money investment?
Yep.
I mean, at this point, I'm
Well, it used to be one or the other, right? You put in time or you put in money. Now you have to do both. I appreciate the fact that Mike has a lot more time than the rest of us do in order to do his 500 million for 7 coins. Damn, that would be nice to be able to do. But I'm like you. I don't think I would have the desire after the first 2 days.
Yeah, it was rough, even with the Phoenixes. I mean, even with the Skyfires, because that seemed like a much more enjoyable raid to me. I brought that up earlier because you didn't have to run for, have them chase you for, and try and kite the drones on any of the targets for a minute and then, go back to where you were originally. And that, I just wish we had more information. I do understand your point where they're asking for way too many points associated with mainly the charged armor. If they got rid of the charged armor, I think a lot of this problem would go away, or completely change the economy of the charged armor. I would feel, because it's not a luxury item, as they say, but then it wouldn't have been so bad. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, the hull, the 2 hulls were, how much was it for the 2 hulls together? 120.
Yeah, but I consider the bus to be a potential luxury item. So basically, it was 100,000. It was 100,000. Oh yeah, 100 million. In order to get the normal stuff that you would expect in a regular raid, the stuff to advance, the technology you need to go to the next step. That was 100 million, which is, it used
still
to be 30 million.
From 30, yeah.
Yeah, it's a far cry from 30, but I mean, the fact that people are putting up these billion point things, I don't know. I guess they're trying to walk the fine line of making it achievable for people that want to grind it out, and the people that want to make the investments and do the higher end targets. But if you did the higher end targets, how much you were getting out of those? It was like 7 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was, and so if you want only to get 100 million,
9, yeah,
9. It was 9 million.
Oh, I'm sorry, 9 million. So if it was 9 million, and if the target was only 100 million, you need to hit what, like 12 of them over 6 days. So two sets a day. Which-
right, but that's not the reality though. The reality is you want the charged armor, and I mean, you know.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm sort of trying to scapegoat the charged armor. That's what I'm bringing up, because the charged armor was one of the big issues.
Well, the charged armor changed the entire economy of the game, and the thing is it changes the economy, but nothing was done to, you know, adjust for it. So now, instead of other things coming down to mitigate the change in the economy of the charged armor, now the amounts of points needed is exceptionally high, and we haven't seen a significant increase in the set points. So
Well,
what the hell?
The phrase of the year for kicks is escalation. Escalate the raid points, escalate the prices, escalate the build times. Because, I mean, I think we can all see that they've gone up.
Yeah. Because what they've done, at least the way I see it, they've accounted for everything that we got. It used to be our FM tokens were considered a bonus. Now they're built into the calculations. Before, the base parts were considered, they were considered a bonus. Now they're factored in. So all the stuff that was previously like a bonus to the player that had gotten to that level are now incorporated into the total build time of an item.
And and you know, one of the things that they said on, I think it was on the Crow's Nest, was that it was like an offhand flippant comment about base parts were easy to get, and I was like, dude, what? I'm like, are you playing the same game that I am? Because holy shit, it's a pain in the ass. Like, I mean, I can auto Drac bases, right, and then have what 10 to 12 hours of repair time on my ironclads, but shit, I mean, that I'm paying for that because of the time that I have to repair. I can't do anything else overnight. I can't do anything else during the day if I want to get base parts. I mean, it precludes me from any other aspect of the game.
Yeah, and the lag that's in the base parts targets is that increased exponentially after the Mike brought it up, and I've filed it like a ticket that went back and forth for a week. Is just crazy at this point. You know, I asked some people at Kickside to look into it. I haven't heard back yet though, as far as what the change was, because I don't think it's lag. I don't think it's lag caused by internet connection. I think it's lag caused by if you don't have the highest end video card. I think that's the issue. That animation is causing the issue. I don't think it's an internet thing. I think it's a graphics card issue, because some people are not having any problems with it, and that's the only, like the 52 is the worst target for me. That's the one I used.
I mean,
what?
To buy a $500 video card for a Flash game?
Well,
I think.
Well, the problem is I didn't have any issue with it prior to Bounty, so there was a change made in the maybe they tuned the animation that was going on there, and then when they did Bounty, they like reloaded something else that was not what they were supposed to load, because it's changed significantly. So yeah, it's because, and if you talk to, at least when I talked to customer support, they kept on wanting to test my internet connection, and from what I've seen, I don't think it's the internet connection. I think it's the graphics in those particular siege targets with the animation of everything popping up, because I don't have bad lag issues in the normally. I mean, occasionally I will on during raids or whatnot, but yeah, it's messed up. Yeah, so I dread getting base parts at this point. Before it was fairly easy, but now it's not.
And that's going to be one of the most necessary items that we've had in a while, is base parts to get everything started upgrading.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least equipping, because I don't think you're going to be able to use it for upgrading stuff.
But you're still going to be massive amounts needed, is my point.
Yeah,
And titanium too. I
Yep.
heard titanium is going to be a
Titanium.
resource.
Yep. I mean, this is what I mean. Is there's so much stuff in the game now that you have to do.
Mhm.
Okay to say it, George. Say
I mean-
escalation.
Dude, escalation is not the
Well,
fucking word.
titanium was never supposed to be something that you were supposed to use in your base, and for,
Well, they're trying to give longevity to the fleet now after the raid.
yeah,
right.
but it was gonna be used for the people that like mega hulls. I mean, I said this before. Is like, are they really just gonna just let the mega hull just rot there? Nothing's gonna happen with it for a while.
They've already said that there's a new TLC coming.
Well, I mean,
and
a new TLC with new stuff, or
Well, I
the
think
same stuff.
I think he said they tweaked it. Did they not?
mhm.
I mean,
Changes.
the last one was friggin' phenomenal for starting out mega hulls. All you needed was a cannon to get through the first prize pack. You know.
Yeah, that's what it used. Isn't that what you needed for the first one, or you need like 3 cannons?
That's not how it was in the original one. No, that was way toned down so people could start getting stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean the whole mega hull thing is so busted because I have people hitting my mega hull that's like I have all level 1 stuff. I can only get through. Last time I was only able to get through that first level, so I still have like level 296 mega hulls hitting my mega that doesn't even have anything in it because I don't I time it. I can't upgrade anything because you need like 4 days of research in order to upgrade anything.
Mhm.
The time is the issue with the Mega more than anything else. It's actually something very fun to play with.
If you did it when you did it, if you did it now, and you are a very small fish with the Mega, you can't store up those parts. There's no way to do it.
Sure, you can. You just have to actually be a little bit proactive and get a whole bunch of, well, not even like a whole bunch of people. All you need is like about a half a dozen people. Y'all stack on the same spot.
Yep.
And that's it. Only one of you guys gets hit.
or you could do. I wish Kickshead would do those campaigns more often. That would actually help the lower players because just every day, just put your mega hull into that campaign and kill it off, and no one can steal your stuff because you'll be in a bubble for a whole entire day. When in the earlier days of mega hulls, that's what I did. Just waited till whenever I needed an upgrade that required a bunch of like the days.
Mm-hmm.
Just open up that TLC, wait till the TLC pops up, and just do the TLC and kill it off for every single day. And I was able to accumulate the necessary parts to upgrade stuff.
Okay. Good morning, Toxic.
Hello,
Hey guys,
Toxic.
how we going?
Okay. You have a good raid?
As good as you can, I guess.
Well, I guess if you had the gut spill, if you had the gut spill Skyfire, I guess you probably had a good raid. If you didn't,
That's a negative.
okay, all right. Now I feel your pain.
Mm-hmm.
Did it with Phoenixes and 2 DOS crews. If you didn't have the DOS crew, it was
It was
a
painful.
pretty painful and expensive experience. And on my part, others may not see it that way, but my part it was.
Yeah, it was quite a flip-flop as far as the power of the hulls, and I really wish they would. I guess I could go back and find that where, on Doom Rooster's way out, he did mention the fact that the Phoenix was for the tier 7 or S targets, and then the Skyfire was for the tier 6 or A sets. And that's not what we ended up seeing.
Yeah, well, that's not. Well, it's happened before, hasn't it? Where the
Tie
auto
Seeker.
hull was better than the
Yeah, it was like
the actual raid hull.
Yeah, it was, but not like this. I don't think we've
raid?
ever seen anything like this. The Tideseeker Hellwraith combo is what I think what he's referring to.
The combo for that last target, yeah, but it wasn't better than the Hellwraith.
Yeah, but what it does now, like at least for me, it puts doubt in my mind. Do I build 4 18-day subs, or do I wait for the auto hull?
Oh shit, I'm building
do I-
both. I'm building it
or
both.
do
I'm building both.
Or do
Yeah,
you need
you gotta
both
build both.
to do it, to successfully do it?
Yeah, you got to build both.
And how can you do all that? I mean, we do get a few tokens from the FM and maybe TLCs, which we don't know yet. But it's what 80 days without the flagship, and then you need to build another one exactly the same.
Well, there's a PvP
That's
shipyard coming out, so I'm sure that that's going to change some stuff.
Yeah. It's going to make the Conquerors 18 days now, or maybe even worse, 30 days. Like it was
No,
before.
I'm not talking about Conquerors. I'm talking about the next raid hulls.
Yeah.
If you have to build,
well,
if you have to build eight hulls plus 2 flagships in 3 months, well, you can't do that without coining. It's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. But what they were referring to is you're going to reduce all the burden off your main shipyard.
Well, except they're going to
There's some
replace
people
it.
that don't do PvP at all, and they just
Yeah. Then it'll just be
just to increase in their
ability for people to get bloodthirst on them.
no, it's just an increase in their build time, because they're gonna increase the build time across the board, and the people that don't do PvP are gonna suffer because they're gonna increase their build time, and they don't get another shipyard or whatnot to be able to mitigate some of that build.
I hate to be Captain Obvious, but and I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not saying anything because I'm probably the most negative of the bunch on here. But since I've got in here, have we talked about one positive aspect of the game? And I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I said that I like when robot designs targets because there's always a solution.
Okay, that's one. But I mean, do you see my point? If Kixeye's sitting back and they're listening to people talk about their game, and all anybody does is complain about it, which, let's face it, there's lots to complain about. At what point do they sit back and say, maybe we're not doing it right?
But
I think the metric. I think the problem is the metrics speak much louder than we do.
Well, it's because people are stupid and we throw money away, and I'm chief among them.
It's human nature to complain about things,
Yeah.
But normally people talk about something that's good in their life. They don't start off every conversation with something bad.
But here's the thing, right? We're really not like I said that I liked the way that the new sub handled, right? I liked how the Phoenix and the Skyfire were designed. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we like, right? But human nature doesn't really lend itself to dwelling on the good stuff, right? So, like, yeah, the 100 was okay. I really liked the 89. I thought that was well balanced for both fleets, right? But the 106 was such a black cloud that's what everyone's going to focus on. I mean, that's human nature. And the thing is if you're in a business and you're looking at it and you know this, I mean, you have to at some level understand psychology in order to design the game, right?
Which is what my point is.
Hold on, but you know that people are like this, that human nature is like that. So what do you rely on? You don't rely on us talking on the show. You rely on the metrics, because the metrics will show when people really are upset, because they will stop.
Well, and that's the problem, I guess, at the end of the day, isn't it? We all say, oh, well, if they do this, I'm not doing that. Or if they do this, I'm not going to spend any more coin. But nobody has the tenacity to see that through after they make it.
Exactly. I mean, look, the last gold special thingy that they put up, I didn't buy it. I flat out, I did not buy it for several reasons.
I didn't buy it either.
Test my
How was it
ass.
test?
No, same here. For two
So-
reasons. First of all, the 106, and second of all, it's getting less and less. I mean, I guess it's still better than full price, but still, you know.
But look, the thing is you know, given human nature and given the way people are, they're going to rely on the metrics. And Mike's right, man. Like, people are still, they don't have the tenacity to just go fuck this for a month.
I know.
They don't. We're
I-
addicted.
Like I said, I'm chief among them. I don't.
I didn't buy that one either because of the value wasn't there. When they were doing them like half off, I'd snatch those things up as fast as I could. But the way they did it this time, it was just so obvious that they were just
used to be-
testing the water.
Yeah, it used to be 100 or 105. Then it was 100 even. I think it was 105 once. Then they did 100 the next several times, and then it was 95 for a long time, and then 70.
Yep.
So I don't know. But on that note, guys, I have to pop. Have a good night. I hope the rest of the show goes well.
They do.
Talk to you guys tomorrow night.
See you later. But you know, you look at it. If there was no 106 and there was a 103, we would still be complaining about something
About
that
the
they didn't,
Rudolph.
that,
Yeah.
that we didn't do right. You know.
Right.
And
No,
if
I-
Rudolph wasn't there, there would be something else we would find to complain about. Because that's the way battle pirates are, I guess.
Well, but that's the frustrating part that I'm talking about. Like I said, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not trying to push any blame anywhere. I'm chief among them. I'll bitch about the littlest thing in the world. You know, that's just the way it is, and I don't mean to be that way. But the thing that I was trying to get across was, at what point do they say, man, these people really don't like what we're doing? Can we do something to make them happy? And I don't think they care, which is another negative point, I know.
But no.
I think-
Look at it. Look at it this way.
Not that they don't care.
What's the highest rate points? There was 2.5 billion.
Yeah.
So all the complaining that you, me, and 20 others do ain't gonna do anything as long as other people spend that much coin. Because you could not. I mean,
Well, but you
I
think they
can't
spent
see how you
coin?
can get to
I would like to know
2.5
what
million.
I would like to know what fleets the $2 billion or the 2 billion point players used, because if they used the Cadies, it was free. All they had to do was go out and mark and say, "Hey, I got this Cadies fleet. It's not costing me anything. I'll charge somebody $10 for 10 million points, and I'm going to rake it up."
Even then, if you didn't sleep for 6 days or 7 days, could you have done that many points continuously?
You know
Or how
what?
many Cadies fleets can you have? I mean,
You can't. But it doesn't make any difference if you got one Cadies fleet. That's 1 billion points by itself if you just want to put the time in. Okay, so then you use your Skyfire and your Phoenixes, and maybe you pay a little bit for that. You've cut your expenses down to half of what everybody else's is. So you've got basically, if you wanted to consider a Skyfire a fleet by itself, you got 2 fleets that are basically out there doing it. The Cadies can auto it, so hell, wake up, turn it on, hit as many targets as you can. Just keep working with your Skyfires, right?
yeah, well, like I didn't know about the Cadies. I haven't got it, and I probably never will have it either. But yeah, well,
49 shards away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably not going to be worth anything but getting base parts or whatever they're going to turn these targets into after this.
Titanium.
Okay, titanium. That's if I build it.
Okay.
Well, they would have to. They would have to, you know, make UAVs different types of damages. Like it does have that ability to change its damage type for the raid type, that for every single raid type. You just have to have a UAV for every single damage type that we need. Because
Or
now
weapons. Or refit it for weapons, because I mean they're going to have their own little floating devices out there.
yeah, but the Cadies can only have UAVs.
yeah, but isn't it that you have to get? Isn't the damage starting at a certain type and then goes to the next end of the next end of the next. So
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
In some of them, you have to kill 3/4 of your ships off to get to that damage type.
Mm-hmm.
But you only need to repair it back up to that.
To that
Okay.
damage type.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So you could just keep it at that, in that your good spot for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it is a good option to get that Cadiz then, eh?
Yeah, but you would like if for the current race cycle, you would need concussive UAVs, and we don't have concussive UAVs.
But we haven't. It's sort of hard to tell because we haven't had data mining in a long time. It's sort of hard to tell because we've seen people, like, especially in the Garrison raid, people haven't been able to experiment as much with this one that I know of. But the fact that I think they've dropped the damage resistance damage resistances of the targets to other damage types. More, you know, because before the garrison raid, nothing would do damage against these targets, except for the appropriate, what they considered appropriate. But I don't know if they've eliminated it or it's not like 95% like it used to be. So, and yeah, I think we agreed that you're probably going to build 2 Katie's run in chat.
Nope, just one.
Okay, all right.
Can't
Before you weren't
afford
sure if you were going to build one, so yeah.
Yeah, well,
I'm
yeah,
gonna end up
it's fun.
building one too. As well, because it's you know, it looks cool.
You know what? Every single spot on there can be a countermeasure as well.
Yeah, it's just a countermeasure or a UAV spot. That's it.
Did anybody try to take anybody that built Fangtooth that had a fully built one? Did they try to take it into the raid target? Or see any videos of anybody trying to do that?
I didn't. I thought I heard somebody say that they tried it, but I didn't follow it very closely.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen any information on that because that would have been interesting because, not all those things had thermal and whatnot. So it could have been an interesting workaround. I'll look around and see if since the raid hasn't ended that long ago, to see if anybody tried that because that could be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if those torque towers that were in there were the ones that had a 3 million thermal range from the torque towers, and that's the only reason they were in there anyway.
Yeah, I was thinking more about the just using it to take out some of those drones because I think the old ones had a range of like 600, which is crazy. But once you start adding any bit of cloak efficiency, because remember the UT, whatever one we have, that has a 390 range, which works it down to, once you start adding cloak efficiency, that shrinks quite a bit. Okay. Big Wiggles Brown, so you did try that and they didn't do any damage against the targets? It appears that somebody might have tried what I was suggesting.
I mean, like I said earlier, I've tried the 106 with Phoenixes, and it wasn't it wasn't good to look at. It took forever. You could after you banked the ships up against that platform, it took forever to kill those little drones. And then I put the DOS crew on. And from where you start, I went around 2 of the corrosive patches, and all the drones were gone. Like it was amazing. I could do I think I did 14 targets with 1 DOS crew, or 14 106.
So one every 10 minutes.
Yeah, even less.
Nothing. Another Amber Alert.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and if I hadn't had those DOS crews, or hadn't used those 2 DOS crews, I would have in no way hadn't gotten the points that I did. And they're impossible to roll,
Yeah. I still have mine sitting around along with my bullseye brigades. I don't know. I didn't. I got a couple hundred. I got over 200 million, but that was a lot of grinding, and I don't know. I feel like now that they've attached that 72 gold value to my bullseye brigades and my DOS crews, I don't use them. I don't know why.
Yes, I mean,
Well, wouldn't it be nice if you could cash them in and be like, here, take these crews back and give me my 72 gold?
Yeah, because I have 16 demo squads. That would be a significant amount of, it'd be like 1,000 gold.
yeah, but what you really want to try them in was that they do come in handy if you like this ride they did for me.
Yeah. No, I understand, and that's a good move to do that. It was just I become somehow sentimentally attached to some of these crews that don't really drop that often anymore. I'm not saying it's a good thing, just saying what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, I must have killed every man of war that was in our sector. I was continuously rolling for crews, and I've not gotten one. I've got like a whole heap of monkeys and helmet guys, but none of no DOS, no bullseye, nothing.
There weren't any released out there for the good crews. It's another one of those parts of the game. Yeah, we're going to fix it, and then it gets put on a back burner, which I understand. Things get prioritized. They've been working on bounty for a long time. They dropped the mega.
But were people out there asking for bounty? I don't think so. People were out
no,
there.
I was asking for something to bring back base hitting and to bring back PvP, because that's what the game is, and that's what they said on one of the shows. It was probably on the Crow's Nest. It's battle pirates. It's in the name, and nobody's battling. We've all turned into chore pirates.
Well, I mean, didn't the Muddle Missile bring back PvP? It seems like the only way to bring back PvP is to bring in an overpowered hull or weapon, and that brings back PvP for a certain amount of time till it gets countered, and then everybody stops.
Well, it wasn't the overpowered nature. It was the fact that you had enough tokens from doing that to build it for free.
To build it, yeah. I mean, that wasn't anything about PvP. That was just everybody spanking out a back of the base fleet, going hitting whoever they could, and saying, "Oh, look, I won."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think that Muddle Missile build was only like 7 days. So you're just like, oh, token. Here we go.
Well, but I mean, think about what they've done. They brought out the Prides. Prides were pretty much unstoppable. Somebody figured out a way to do it. They brought out the Muddles. Muddles were unstoppable. People figured out a way to do it. Then they brought out the Visagos Pride, which reinvigorated the Pride again. So here we go. Now they got the Rage. They got the Rhaenys Rage. Now they got the Sloth. I mean, it's always build a quick fleet, kill a few bases, then we're going to kill the boats. And they just keep the cycle going. Mm-hmm. It's not like it used to be. How long did the DNX last as a base hitting fleet?
Oh, forever.
I know. And wasn't it fun? And then they kept giving you a few new weapons here or a few new tweaks here that you could put on your DNX to extend them. They don't do that with the crap we have now.
There was always a blitzer hull that would get nerfed in like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's a build it, use it, and lose it type situation.
Yeah.
That's what they've already said with the Sloth. They said, you know what, guys? Get out there and use it, because you're not going to have long, because it will be taken down.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they've already told us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's why half the people that have it are out there saying, I'm not sure I'm going to build it.
The next bounty, if you got the Brennus, the next bounty, hey, you're it.
Well, no, I bet it'll be killed.
You can splash out everything from the edge of the map almost. You got the Brennus and a couple of slots and something to drive around.
Toxic. They've already basically figured out how to kill it. The guys that want to kill it will be building a couple of the new turrets.
Well, and not only that, but by the time the next bounty hits, a lot of people will have their OP10 done, and we'll be able to make that footprint way bigger. So splashing out the entire island from the outside, like people are doing now, isn't going to be an issue at that point.
Well, not only that, but whenever we get that new gun, the Omega?
Mm-hmm.
That thing's going to do massive damage. And if you listen to the show again last night, we had a great time with the designers on our show, but a week removed, they came out with a little bit more information, and they talked about the Mega, which we didn't get, the Omega, which we didn't get a chance to talk about. And he said last night, you know, that 275 range outranges the sloths.
At the center of, if you're aiming at that. But if you can splash it out from a greater distance.
Yeah, just watch. Everybody and their brother's going to have turrets on there with the splash attenuation or whatever it's called.
What I'll be interested to see is how long the research for the Omega cannon is, and then how long it takes to put it on the OP on top of that as well.
Well,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
only that,
same
don't
here.
forget, you got the new turret to shoot down the Morts.
That's true. That's true.
We got to go back to Judgment Morts now. You know,
Well, don't they move?
the torpedoes. You know, honestly, I don't know, but I will find out.
No, the torpedoes don't merv. They have anti-mortar evade. That's the redeeming factor from them.
But yeah,
I mean,
that doesn't.
when he was talking about the Omega Gatling gun last night, he was saying that the research time on it was going to be pretty long. So I don't know what their definition of pretty long is compared to our definition of pretty long.
It's gonna be like a month. I swear.
A month. It'll
It's
be more
gonna
than a
be-
month. It'll be more than a month.
No, well, it may be more than a month, but they've timed it that way so that the only way to be able to defeat the British is to coin that. Remember, coining is the top priority because they are a company to make money. Whatever they have to do to leverage coin is what they will do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm thinking as far as to get everything upgraded and put the new turrets on, it's sort of a timeline to when the next OP comes out.
Yeah, well, think about the super hulls. If they started introducing super hulls into the bounty, that the only way to win them is through the bounty, people are going to have to coin the stuff in order to win it.
Yeah.
Or you lose your advantage for, 3 months? You know, that's why they said we didn't give you guys 5 of the, what's that boat called? I can't even remember. The Courage. Yeah, they said that's why we didn't give you 5 Courage. We didn't want 5 of them in a base.
And they won't let you rank it up.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's more of the problem for the people that have 1 or 2. The fact that you can't really, there's no pretty way to rank up a Courage.
Well, we'll find out Friday, won't we?
You know, that was something that got said last night that really actually bothered me, but I didn't really want to get into it at that point in time, was when they were saying about aren't giving you general defender tokens because we want to make sure they're only ranked at a certain level. And I'm like, well, why should they be any difference between them and the Conqueror holes? That's part of the problem that you have with PvP is you always want to give defense the shaft.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's what I
Because
was.
he talked about it earlier in the week because he talked about the fact that, because, you know, I thought he was going to provide a solution. Then, you know, he's like, well, you'll be able to buy tokens in the daily store, and then maybe something is going to show up in bounty.
I
But,
don't want to do bounty ever again. Like, honestly, I mean, we already had enough with the raid.
Yeah, but Daniel,
But
that
what-
tells me you're turning into a chore pirate. Because if you don't do bounty, you're not going to get the PvP equipment that you need to do PvP. Because that's where you get PvP equipment.
Well, I think what he's saying is that he's overwhelmed with the PvE stuff.
Yeah, it's like
He doesn't want to do the rest.
I don't want to do 2 raid. I don't want to do a PvP raid and then on top of I don't want to do a PvE raid and then go back in like a couple weeks go and do a PvP raid. I mean, we're already stressed out enough with just the PvP part.
The solution to the problem, and
It's
it's
quick.
too simple, so they will never do it. No, we're not going to play. We're not going to play war games. But the solution to the problem, to keeping people overwhelmed, is do 6 of each. Every other month, do 1 raid. Next time, do a bounty. Do a raid, do a bounty. That gives everybody time to build the fleets they need for 60 days. not 120, not 240, but for 60 days to build the fleets we need for the next upcoming series.
Like alternate the
Alternate. You got 12 months. Do 6 raids, do 6 bounties.
I think from a financial status,
that actually would make sense.
Well, it would cost them coin. They won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it.
A lot of people won't participate in both.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you do this, it still gives you 60 days between cycles to build the fleets.
No,
Which is all we need.
No, yeah, I was agreeing with you.
Oh yeah, I understand. I'm not being critical. I'm just, like I said, when I get excited about something, my voice raises. I can't help it. I can always talk like this.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well,
But yeah, I mean, it's a simple solution to us because we don't have to worry about monetizing the game. They're worried about how they're going to buy their next Escalade or their next Ferrari or whatever they want to park in the garage today. So yeah, they got to monetize everything. Oh, you want to build walls? It's $50 a pop. I mean, there's another thing we haven't talked about. We got level 10 walls coming up, which is 10 clicks with an escalation in resources that's going to be unbelievable. Or maybe they'll offer you a reduction if you use titanium to do it. We don't know what they're going to do, but think about how boring it is building walls.
Yeah. I didn't want to do that ever again.
Building the walls isn't boring. It's getting all the crap to click on them and build them is what's boring.
Go hit bases, win resources.
Yeah.
No. It's not even that. It's just the clicking of the things. Click.
I can't be bothered.
One at a time. Like every single level. Click for 4. Like how many walls do we have? I don't even know. Like 350?
500.
500? Yeah.
No, we're going to have more than that. We got 500 now. We're getting 100 new walls.
Right, we're going to have...
That's 1,000 clicks to get them up.
Oh, God. And then we're going to have extra walls to click.
That doesn't include the 500 that we have. That's just the new ones to get them from 1 to 10. 1,000 clicks.
Yeah.
Well, over half of my walls aren't upgraded to max level right now just because I can't be bothered to click that many times.
Well, it's nice that you don't have OCD. Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
I can't have a wall. I can't have 2 walls with different colors.
I'm with you, Rome.
I did the same thing. I have all of them. Upgraded.
You know, my biggest problem in building a base is symmetry. Again, OCD. Things have to look fairly symmetrical for me, so that means I get flattened because it has to look symmetrical. It's a horrible disease.
Right there with you, bud.
That's why this I forget what the guys call it. They have a fancy term for it. The base turned the way it is to make a 2D environment look like a 3D environment. Yeah, I can't deal with that very well.
But to go back to the comment that started all this, which was the VXP for the defender hulls,
Courage or all of them?
Isn't what he said that if you got Conqueror hulls and you can use the tokens and that we can make in the game, you have to have 5 sets of tokens or 5 sets of, what is it, about 20 tokens or whatever it is, or 25 tokens to get everything to skull level. Now, as a defender, you may only need 1. And then what he said was that what in a later stage of the game, he said, what if in the later stage of a game we're going to make a hull that is easier to rank? So it's not even on the cards yet, because he said what if, not when. So the answer that he gave was really a nothing answer in my humble opinion.
This kind of goes to what Hefe and I were talking about before the show. He was wondering where the information come from on the power levels. And I sat there and I started thinking about it. They answered the direct question the way that it was phrased. How much more power are we going to get? And they were, for some reason, that they were talking about the OP, and that was where the 20,000 came from. but that didn't come from all other sources to add up to the 500,000 that we're going to get.
Well,
So
yeah,
we were
what it was when they sent me the info for the different things, they gave me specifically the power level for the OP, the dock, and the warehouses. So I erroneously misunderstanding added up all those and thought, okay, well that's how much power we're going to get. But on the same point in time, when I asked them specifically, is 20K power going to be enough for all these upgrades that we're doing? They should have picked up on my misunderstanding at that point in time, too.
But they didn't want to. That's the thinking like a lawyer when you ask a question. You didn't give them any loophole to get out of. You asked them a specific question. They answered your question specifically. 20,000 is what you get.
I don't know. I took it more as they kind of misunderstood what I was asking than specifically not wanting to avoid.
No, they know, because we were all in shock whenever they said 20,000. It's like, huh? Is that going to be enough? The answer is no. 20,000 is not enough. That barely gets you the second Rampart. I'm full on base. I mean, on base power right now. I actually have 3,000 to 5,000 left over, and that's it.
But what would they have gained for deliberately saying something wrong? Nothing.
No, it wasn't that they deliberately misquoted it. They answered his question directly. They did not misquote anything. They answered it directly.
Yeah, but like Damation said, I reckon it was a mistake. It was a misunderstanding that we're talking about the same thing, but from a different way, sort of type thing. And
maybe
they may have misunderstood.
But to me, when you're dealing with programmers, and programmers deal in black and white more than just anybody else, because the computer can't understand areas of gray in programming. It's this, then that. That's the way they think. If you ask them a direct question, they give you a direct answer as best they can.
But the direct answer I asked them is 20,000 base power going to be enough for all the things. So if they were answering that direct question, then they intentionally lied, and I don't think that's the case.
I don't know. We could go on the after show, because a similar thing happened on the Wednesday night when they were on with us.
Mm-hmm. Obfuscation.
No, I don't think it was intent. I don't even know what it is. I don't think it was intentional.
Nervous.
I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, there was an issue with the Delirium torpedo only hitting surface targets that came up. That caused a lot of confusion, and I don't think that was intentional. I don't quite understand it, at least enough to talk at this point on it. But yeah, there is a weird mechanism going on there that I don't quite understand. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I don't understand well enough to say. I'm not going to jump to the point where I think that it's intentional. I don't think it's intentional or malicious. I just think it's asking somebody a direct question, giving a direct answer. I don't think they want to read into it any more than what they have to. Yeah.
I mean, you can see that Rampage last night had a list of things that he could talk about, and if it wasn't on that list, he couldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that we should cover tonight? I think we're gonna have a long show on Friday. Larry missed tonight, but he'll be on Friday, and we're gonna have I think one of the biggest updates that we've seen in a year occur maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Has there been any updates on the forums as far as when the update's going to occur?
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
Not that I've seen. I've been looking for it all throughout the day.
So have I.
Yeah.
I keep looking for just any little glimmer of hope. I tell you what, the best thing that happened was actually seeing the OPs with the power rating on there, because I was quite disheartened last night when they said 20,000. I really was.
Yeah. A little did you know it was 500,000.
Well, yeah, I think that's too much, but they also said that they may introduce it in phases. So this week we may get 100,000, and then in a month from now we may get a little more.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's
how they're gonna.
I'm not sure if that's what they meant, or they meant that they may release certain buildings later on in the process. They weren't being detailed at that point in time.
Well, and that's probably all stuff that's like months out, and they're not even sure what they're going to do.
Exactly. It could change, and they don't want to get caught in that spider web. I understand.
Yeah. So, any last parting words? We've been going on for almost 2 hours, and I expect, like I said, Larry should be on the Friday show. We'll probably do like a normal show, and then we'll throw it open mic afterwards, because we're gonna have a ton to talk about, I assume. And but anything, before we go to the after show, and I will post the link in case anybody would like to join the after show with us. But anything that anybody'd like to close with, or besides build them both, I think that's that's my motto from this raid.
Build them both.
Yeah, but
it's actually, the game is fun. And the biggest aspect of it is exactly what we're doing now. People becoming friends, people getting on, talking about something that they enjoy. Is that the right word? I mean, we all do this all the time. So I appreciate you guys giving me a chance to get on here and talk. And I don't mean to get so negative at times, but it's just frustrating. I love the game. I love the people around it. I don't always like the results that come from it.
Yeah. Anybody else, or should I push the button and end the broadcast at this point?
Put me out of my misery.
Was that push the button or pull the trigger? Which one was that?
Hey.
Pull the plug, I guess. So
Y'all be nice.
Yeah, and Friday, I don't think it'll be a 5-hour show, but we will probably
5 hour.
I thought we were going to have a cooking show on Friday.
We could.
Larry's going to be back.
Well, Larry's going to be back. Have you got your CV yet?
No. Well, we had a show tonight. I couldn't, so I'll go get it tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to try and make because I hate pork chops made out of loin.
Yeah.
But I bought a loin today, and I'm going to try and make pork chops out of it tomorrow. Because I think it's with the sous vide, I can cook it to just the right temperature and then crisp it up later. Because the issue with, because the loin pork chops has become so popular nowadays because it's low in fat and it's cheap.
Does low and flat mean low in favor?
Well, yeah, but I'm going to amp up the flavor at the end. But it also dries out.
Yeah.
Once it gets cooked through, it's dried out. So I'm going to cook it to like 140, and then I'm going to sear both sides in bacon fat afterwards.
You're going to have to get that searing temperature up there high. The bacon fat may smoke too much.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. And the other problem is I'm cooking it for my my sister is one of the people that'll be over tomorrow, and she has celiac, so I can't even put flour or anything else.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, well, you don't need to butterfly them because Howard in chat. I don't need to butterfly them because I'm gonna be able to cook them. I'm gonna vacuum pack them and cook them in a constant temperature to 140, and I'm just gonna sear the outsides. The rest of it's gonna be cooked from wall to wall the same. So it should be an interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah, it should be an interesting experiment. So I'll let you all know on Friday's show, in case that's more tempting to hear about than potential ramifications of OP10.
You need to start a whole new YouTube channel, like Cooking with Hefe.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
I was about to say the same thing.
Hey, at least we get away from Hefe's junk that way.
Well, whatever, that's going to be I'm really hoping that's going to be the next conqueror, but, we'll see.
No.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a conqueror. It would be the opposite of a conqueror. The conquered.
The conqueror. Yeah, I'm still calling it the conqueror. All right. Good night, everybody. And we'll see you all on Friday, and have a great week.